Hello, and welcome to Love, Light, the Other Side. We are going to be doing a love reading. But first, I had some spirits come to me today and talk to me. Now, this may be a little strange, and if you don't want to hear it, you could either fast forward or just click off. This may not be the video for you. There's a couple that's come forward. They're from the 1920s. They might be from the Titanic. So if you want to research what I'm saying, go right ahead. Doesn't bother me at all. One is named Alvin or has an A sounding name. And the other one is Edith. For sure. 100% her name is Edith. No word of a lie. Her name is Edith. You could quote me on that. They would walk on the promenade and they paid a token. They paid a token so that they could see the scenery, and that was the only way they were allowed on the promenade. There's a man that's wearing a suit with a black and white top. He's wearing a top hat that's black. He's got really shiny shoes, and I've been saying this for the last couple of readings that I've had because I don't know who it's going out to, but he wants to tell people he had really shiny shoes. He was a businessman. He might have been an owner of something. The woman was wearing a light pink dress with a matching pink hat. She had her hair up and she has brown hair. Now, she's saying something like pearl earrings or pear. So you might want to look that up too. I don't know if it's her last name. I don't know if she's actually talking about the earrings, but it could be pearl or it could be pear. And she's got a very strong jawline, and they appear to be Caucasian. And they were saying that it was such a beautiful day hours before the event happened. I asked if they had any children, and all they said was children were not allowed on the promenade. They had to pay a toll for scenery. And I think that's he probably didn't like the fact that he had to pay for scenery, considering they were first class passengers, which means they must have owned something. And I don't know if they were married or if he was asking her to marry him. But they came across to me and they wanted me to say this, so I'm just doing as they ask. Now let's start into our love reading. Keeping in mind that this couple was probably in love as well. They would have to have been, right? If they were holding hands on the promenade and taking in the scenery. How romantic. Okay, let's get right into this love reading. Love reading. Make the effort. Make the effort to find somebody. Make the effort in the relationship you have. Great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take. Pay attention to red flags that may come your way. And this involves a wedding, so you could be married to this person, or they may be presenting you with a wedding ring. Just like this couple, he might have been asking her to marry him. An engagement. So it could have been that he was asking her to get engaged. Or it could be a commitment. You're either going to be living together instead of just dating. You could be living together, and it's going to involve finances and career is what you're going to have to sit down and work out with your finances and your career. And you do deserve love. You do deserve love. You are lovable, even if at times you don't think you are. You both have the same religious factors. But before you decide to marry somebody, you might want to retreat and spend some time from yourself and disconnect from the whole entire world, because you want to make sure you make the right decision. So thank God this person doesn't have a dinner date with a whole bunch of family when he asks you, or he asks you. A masculine energy asks you. Thank God you're not around family when it happens, because you want to actually think about it. And, he's going to say, or she, masculine energy is going to say, well, if you love me, you wouldn't have to make a decision. Well, when it comes to finances and career, you pretty much have to, because this person doesn't have the same finances as you, or they spend too much money. They're a spendthrift instead of a saver. So you really got to make sure you decide what you want to do. Or they could have some kind of addiction, whether it be to spending money, whether it could be that you think they drink too much, or they're too controlling, or they have something there. And it could end up that you decide that you don't want to be with this person anymore, and it's going to either be an ending for you, or it's going to bring in a new beginning. So you might decide that, yes, this is something that you want to do. Either way is going to transform you, because if you decide no, and this person decides, well, they want to be married, they're getting older, they want to get married, they want to have children, and it could destroy the relationship you're in if you say no. If you say yes, it could also change everything for you, and you might have to deal with things you don't necessarily want to deal with. Someone likes you, though. Somebody is watching from the outside in. They really like you and they really want to date you. So if you decide that you just, right now is not the time you want to get married, and it does end up breaking you and your partner up, you could actually be dating somebody else in the near future, because there is somebody out there that likes you. They just haven't come forward to explain it to you. And somebody isn't showing their true feelings, or they're hiding something from you. And it could be that somebody's hiding something that has to do with finance. So if you really are struggling to figure it out, go through the person's finance and see if you really want to be married to somebody that spends a lot of money, or somebody that's going to be gaslighting, or pretending to be somebody they're not. You really have to decide whether you want to do this. Don't show all your cards. Don't put all your cards down on the table. Make sure that you decide without being pressured to decide what you want to do. Because it's not every day that people get married, even though it may seem like it, because you have a couple of friends that have been married like 4 times or 3 times or 2 times. That's not necessarily normal, or it could be now, but when I was growing up, it wasn't normal to have somebody even get divorced. So it wasn't until I was a teenager that we started hearing about family members getting divorces, or being married twice or even 3 times. It wasn't until I was a teenager, but that was many, many years ago. So I'm not sure if they're stay together now, or if they get married, get divorced, get married, get divorced. Not 100% sure, and I'm not sure about the circle that you're in. But you don't want that. You figure that, when you get married, you get married. You don't want to have divorces or anything. So when you're asked to get married, this is something that you really want to figure out for you. And you have many options and decisions, and some of them are unconventional, and you feel like you're being stringed along. And for some of you, it's just a one-night stand that's got a little bit, it started off as a one-night stand, it just got a little bit into relationships and stuff like that, and you don't know if this one-night stand that turned into a relationship is if this is something that you really want to involve yourself in. Some of you may just turn around and say that, no, I don't want marriage, I don't want any of that, I was just wanting you to be there for me when there was no one else. It could feel like that to you, or it could feel like a breakup or a separation. Once you totally put everything on the table, it's like, it's not for you. It just isn't for you. And once you look back on it and have some introspection, you might both feel the same way, that maybe you're just not suited for each other, and you should not have, he or the masculine energy shouldn't have even asked you to marry him. He just thought you were pulling away, so he wanted to ask you to keep you closer to him, because he wasn't ready to let you go. or she. It's just masculine energy. If you do say no to the person's going to feel like they've been stabbed in the back or attacked. Because all this time they thought that you felt the same way they did. And when they ask you, you say no, you're not going to marry them. Then they just feel like, what am I here for? They feel like they've been stabbed in the back. The choice is up to you either way. And either way, Spirit is okay with, because you have to make your decisions in this world. Make sure you give it a lot of thought, though, because you don't want to do something that you're not comfortable doing. Maybe even take some time and say, look, let's have a long engagement so I can decide. You could even want to do that too, because that way you're not saying no and it's not saying yes, you're just having a long engagement. Because you can always break up an engagement, but a marriage is a little bit harder to do. Have a good day, and we'll see you in the next one.